Everyone knows the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It is the most famous extinction in history. But 190 million years before that rock fell from the sky, something far worse happened. Something that made the asteroid look merciful. I am standing on a continent that stretches from pole to pole, one massive landmass, Pangea. The air is hot, thick, hard to breathe, and beneath my feet, the ground is shaking. Not from an earthquake, from something deeper. Something that has been building for thousands of years beneath Siberia. I look toward the horizon. The sky is glowing red. Not sunset, lava. Thousands of kilometers of it. The largest volcanic eruption in Earth's history has begun, and it will not stop for 1,000,000 years. By the time it ends, 90% of everything alive on this planet will be dead. The oceans will turn toxic. The forests will burn to nothing. The silence that follows will last 10 million years. This is the Great Dying, the closest life has ever come to total extinction. But I am not starting there. To understand how the world ended, I need to show you what was lost. I need to take you back to when life finally broke free from the water and built something extraordinary on land. And it all begins with an egg. 370 million years ago, I am standing on a muddy shoreline where the first vertebrates crawled out of the ocean. Clumsy amphibians drag themselves between water and land. They have been here for millions of years now, and they are stuck. Their skin dries in the open air. Their eggs dissolve without water. Every generation is born in a pond and returns to a pond to breed. The land is available, vast, empty, full of food, but they cannot claim it, because they are prisoners of moisture. I watch one of them, a broad, flat creature 1/2 meter long, crawling toward a drying pool. Its belly drags through the mud. Its skin is already cracking in the afternoon heat. It moves desperately because if this pool disappears before it reaches the next one, it will die. Not from a predator, not from starvation, from dry air. The most abundant thing on the entire planet, and it is lethal to this animal. Its eggs are worse. Soft, transparent spheres laid in shallow water. No protection, no shell. If the pond dries, the eggs dry. If a current carries them away, they are gone. Every amphibian generation is a gamble against evaporation. And for 60 million years, this is the best that evolution has managed on land. The ocean solved reproduction billions of years ago. Water everywhere, constant moisture, no risk of drying out. But land is hostile to everything wet. And life on land has been stuck at this barrier, waiting for a solution that seems impossible. But something is changing. I crouch beside a nest hidden under a rotting log near the edge of a swamp. Inside, a clutch of eggs. But these are not like the soft jelly eggs the amphibians leave in water. These have a shell, thin, leathery, flexible, and inside each one, a sealed world. I pick one up carefully. Through the translucent shell I can see layers, an outer membrane that lets air pass through but holds moisture inside. A sac of fluid surrounding the embryo, its own private ocean. A yolk providing food, and a chamber collecting waste so the embryo is not poisoned by its own chemistry. This is the amniotic egg, and it changes everything. For the first time in 4 billion years, an organism does not need external water to reproduce. The ocean that every creature has depended on since the first cell divided is now carried inside a shell. Life has packaged the sea and taken it onto land. Think about what evolution has built here. No brain designed this. No engineer planned it. Millions of generations of random mutations, and the result is a self-contained life support system. an egg that carries water in a world without water, that breathes air through a shell, that feeds itself from a yolk, that disposes of its own waste. It is a spacecraft, built by chemistry and time, 300 million years before humans will build their first one. And the animal inside does not know any of this. It simply grows, in its own sealed ocean, until it is ready to break through and walk onto land that no ancestor could survive on. The creature that will hatch from this egg is Hylonomus. It is small, barely 20 centimeters long. It looks like a lizard, dark skin covered in tiny scales that lock moisture inside the body. Stronger legs positioned more directly beneath the torso, not splayed sideways like an amphibian. It can run, not far, not fast by modern standards, but on land where nothing else can run at all, it is revolutionary. I watch it hatch. It breaks through the leathery shell and steps onto dry ground. It does not look back toward the water. It does not need to. It breathes air through efficient lungs. Its skin does not dry out. Its eggs do not need a pond. It is the first true reptile. And the land, all of it, belongs to creatures like this now. I follow it through the undergrowth. It moves quickly between fallen logs and fern roots. Its small, sharp eyes scan for insects, the protein that fuels this new kind of life. It catches a cockroach-like creature, one of the first insects on land, and crushes it in small, pointed teeth designed for exactly this purpose. It does not return to water to drink. It gets moisture from its food and conserves what it has through its sealed, scaly skin. It does not seek a pond to cool down. It regulates its temperature by moving between sun and shade. Every problem that trapped the amphibians at the waterline, this creature has solved. And it did not solve them through strength or size. Hylonomus is tiny, fragile, easily crushed by any of the giant amphibians that still dominate the water's edge. But it has something they never will: freedom. The ability to walk inland and never look back. Within a few million years, the reptiles diversify in ways the amphibians never could. Some grow larger. Some develop specialized teeth for different foods. Some become predators. Some become herbivores. They spread inland, away from the coasts, into territories that no vertebrate has ever reached. Deserts, highlands, dense forests. Every environment the land offers, they take. And among them, a group begins to change in a direction no one would predict. They develop a sail on their backs, a tall, thin fan of skin stretched over bony spines rising from the vertebrae. It is not for swimming. It is a radiator, a temperature regulator. These are the synapsids, and they are not the ancestors of reptiles or dinosaurs. They are the ancestors of mammals. They are the ancestors of you. I find one basking on a flat rock in the morning sun. Dimetrodon, 3 meters long. A powerful predator with a massive skull and teeth that vary in size, some for gripping, some for tearing. Like a mammal's mouth millions of years before mammals exist. But the sail is what holds my attention. It stretches half a meter above the spine. Thin skin stretched over long, bony rods. Blood vessels run through it, carrying heat. In the morning cold, it angles toward the sun and absorbs warmth faster than any other animal around it. By the time its prey is still sluggish from the night chill, Dimetrodon is already warm, already hunting. It is not a dinosaur. People always think it is, but it is closer to you than to any dinosaur that will ever live. The bones in its jaw, the way its teeth differentiate, the beginnings of warm-blooded metabolism hidden inside that sail. These are the earliest whispers of the mammalian line, your line. But their time is not now. They are successful, dominant even, ruling the land for tens of millions of years. But something is coming that will erase almost all of them. And it is already building beneath the surface of a supercontinent that is about to change the world. I am walking forward into the age of coal. I step into a forest that makes no sense. The trees around me are not like any trees I have ever seen. They do not have bark like oak or pine. Their trunks are covered in diamond-shaped patterns, geometric scars where leaves once attached directly to the trunk in spiraling rows. These are lepidodendron, scale trees, and they rise 40 meters into air that is thick enough to taste. The air here is different, richer, heavier. Oxygen levels have climbed past 30%, nearly half again what you breathe today. Every breath feels like drinking. My lungs fill completely with a single inhale. And this air, this impossibly rich atmosphere, is what makes everything around me possible. I look up. The canopy above is dense and alien. Lepidodendron branches spread outward in Y-shaped forks, each fork splitting again and again until the tips hold clusters of long, grass-like leaves. Beside them, sigillaria trees rise straight as columns, their trunks marked with vertical rows of seal-shaped leaf scars. They do not branch at all until the very top, where a crown of long, drooping leaves fans outward. These are not wood trees, not really. Their trunks are mostly bark, thick, spongy bark surrounding a thin core of actual wood. They grow fast, incredibly fast. A lepidodendron can reach full height in just a few years. But they are fragile. A strong storm can snap them in half. And when they fall, this is where the story changes. I watch a giant lepidodendron topple, 40 meters of trunk crashing down into the swamp below. It hits the dark water with a sound like thunder and sinks into the mud. And there, it stays. It does not rot. In any modern forest, a fallen tree would be consumed by fungi and bacteria within years, decomposed, recycled, returned to the soil. But here, in the Carboniferous, the fungi that can break down lignin, the tough woody molecule that holds these trees upright, have not evolved yet. Nothing on this planet can digest wood. So the trees fall, and they pile up, layer upon layer upon layer, century after century, millennium after millennium. Entire forests collapsing on top of each other in vast swamplands that stretch across the equator of Pangea. I wade through one of these swamps. The water is dark, almost black, stained with tannins from the endless layers of dead wood beneath. My feet sink into a floor that is not rock, not soil, but compressed plant matter going down meters, maybe tens of meters. Below me lies the accumulated death of millions of trees that nothing could eat. This is coal. Not yet, but it will be. 300 million years of pressure and heat will compress these layers into the black rock that will one day power the Industrial Revolution, the steam engines, the factories, the electricity that lights the room you are sitting in right now. It all starts here, in a swamp where trees fall and nothing can make them disappear. The irony is staggering. These trees pulled carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and locked it in their trunks. When they died and did not decompose, that carbon stayed locked underground, permanently removed from the air. The atmosphere cooled. Oxygen climbed even higher. The planet was being reshaped by trees that were too successful for their own good. And in this oxygen-rich cathedral of rotting wood and standing giants, life thrives in ways I have never seen before. The forest floor is crawling with creatures that benefit from the thick air. Giant millipedes still patrol the undergrowth. Arthropleura, the same creatures I saw in the previous era, but now even larger in some species. Cockroaches the size of my hand scuttle between fallen trunks. They are among the first insects to develop wings, and they will outlast almost everything else on this planet. 300 million years from now, they will still be here, unchanged, indestructible. Spiders have built webs between the scale trees. Not small webs. Webs that stretch a meter across, strong enough to catch the giant dragonflies that still rule the air above. Meganura, 70 centimeters of wingspan, darts between the lepidodendron trunks, hunting anything smaller than itself. But the most important residents of this forest are not the giants. They are the small creatures hiding in hollow stumps and rotting logs. The early reptiles, Hylonomus and its relatives, sheltering inside the fallen lepidodendron trunks that litter the forest floor. We know this because their fossils have been found inside these exact tree stumps, preserved in the position where they lived and died 310 million years ago. The coal forests will not last forever. They depend on a very specific climate: wet, warm, equatorial. And the continent beneath them is moving. Pangea is still forming, still grinding together. And as it shifts, the swamps will dry, the forests will shrink, the great age of coal will end. But for now, standing in this impossible forest, surrounded by trees that nothing can decompose, breathing air so rich it feels electric, I understand something. This moment, this brief window of geological time, is creating the fuel that a species 300 million years in the future will burn in a single century. The carbon that these trees are locking away right now will be released all at once, and the consequences will be familiar to anyone alive today. The trees do not know this. They simply grow, they fall, they pile up, and the planet buries them, layer by layer, building a time bomb out of sunlight and wood. I am walking forward into the age of one world. I climb to higher ground and look out across the landscape. The swamps are thinning. The endless green canopy that stretched to every horizon is breaking apart. Patches of dry land are appearing between the wetlands, sandy plains where no lepidodendron can survive. The climate is shifting, and the reason is beneath my feet. The continents are merging. I cannot feel it. The movement is centimeters per year, but over tens of millions of years, the result is absolute. Every landmass on the planet is grinding together into a single supercontinent. Pangea, one world, surrounded by one ocean, Panthalassa. I have watched continents from space before in this journey, scattered fragments drifting across a dark ocean. But now, they have found each other. South America locked against Africa, North America pressed into Europe, India and Antarctica fused to the southern edge, Australia tucked beside them. One unbroken mass of land stretching from the South Pole nearly to the north. And this changes everything about how the planet works. The interior of Pangea is a desert, the largest desert that has ever existed or ever will exist on this planet. Moisture from the ocean cannot reach the center. Rain falls on the coasts and never penetrates inland. Thousands of kilometers of dry, barren rock bake under a sun that has grown slightly brighter over the last 100 million years. I walk inland. The lush swamps of the Carboniferous are behind me now. Ahead, red sandstone, dry riverbeds that only flow during rare storms, wind-scouted dunes stretching to the horizon. The silence here is total. No insects hum, no leaves rustle. The coal forests that build the world I just walked through cannot survive here. They are retreating to the shrinking coastlines, crowded into narrow strips of moisture between the desert and the sea. The plants that survive inland are different, tough, drought-resistant. They have evolved thick, waxy coatings on their leaves to hold moisture, deep root systems that reach far underground for water. They do not grow tall, they grow stubborn. They cling to every riverbank and canyon where a trace of moisture persists. And the animals are changing too. The amphibians are losing their grip on the world. They need moisture. They need ponds for their eggs. And the ponds are vanishing. Across the interior of Pangea, The great amphibian dynasties that dominated for 100 million years are being pushed back to the coasts and river systems. Their kingdom is shrinking with every degree the climate warms. But the reptiles are thriving. They were built for this. Sealed skin, internal fertilization, amniotic eggs that need no water. Every adaptation that seemed like a minor advantage in the wet forests is now the difference between survival and extinction in a drying world. I find a group of synapsids resting in the shade of a rocky overhang near a dry riverbed. These are not the sailback dimetrodons of the earlier forests. These are more advanced. Therapsids. Their legs are positioned more directly under their bodies, not sprawling to the sides. Some have developed whisker-like structures on their snouts, sensory hairs for hunting in low light. Their teeth are even more differentiated than dimetrodons, incisors at the front, canines on the sides, molars at the back. A mammal's mouth in a reptile's body. One of them, a gorgonopsid, lifts its head and watches me. It is the size of a large dog. Powerful jaws, long saber-like canine teeth that protrude even when the mouth is closed. It is a pure predator. Fast, efficient, warm-blooded or close to it. For a moment, looking into its eyes, I see something familiar. Something that will not fully emerge for another 200 million years. But it is there, the mammalian spark. These therapsids rule Pangea. They are the dominant land animals on Earth. They have diversified into predators and herbivores. Some are the size of cattle. Some hunt in what might be the earliest packs. They have held power for tens of millions of years, and nothing on land can challenge them. They do not know that their reign is almost over, because deep beneath the eastern edge of Pangea, in the region that will one day be called Siberia, something is building. Magma is rising from deep in the mantle. Not a single volcano, not a chain of eruptions, something far larger. A mantle plume, a column of superheated rock rising from near the core of the Earth itself, is pushing toward the surface. It has been building pressure for millions of years. And when it finally breaks through, it will not stop for a million years. It will pour lava across an area the size of Western Europe. It will inject enough carbon dioxide and sulfur into the atmosphere to change the chemistry of the entire planet. It will heat the oceans until they cannot hold oxygen. It will acidify every body of water on Earth. It will trigger a cascade of death that will make every extinction before or since look like a minor setback. The therapsids basking in the shade of this rock, the forests clinging to the coastlines, the reefs in the shallow seas, the insects in the undergrowth. 90% of them will be dead within a geological heartbeat. But none of them know this yet. The sun is warm, the shade is cool. The gorgonopsid closes its eyes and rests. The world is quiet. And far below, the magma rises. I am walking forward into the great dying. It begins with a sound, not an explosion, not a crack, a low, deep groan rising from the earth itself. The ground beneath me vibrates, not shaking, humming, as if the planet is in pain. I am standing on the eastern edge of Pangea. Behind me, the dry interior, the therapsids, the shrinking forests. Ahead of me, a horizon that is starting to glow. The first fissure opens, not a volcano with a cone and a crater, a crack in the earth itself, kilometers long, splitting the ground like a wound. And from that wound, lava. Not flowing gently, erupting in curtains of molten rock that shoot upward and fall across the landscape like burning rain. This is the Siberian Traps. And what is happening here is not a volcanic eruption. It is the planet tearing itself open. The mantle plume that has been building for millions of years has finally reached the surface. Superheated rock from near the core of the Earth is pouring outward through a wound that will not close for 1,000,000 years. The scale is beyond anything I have witnessed on this journey. Lava flows spread across an area that will one day be the size of Western Europe. Layer after layer, each flow burying the last, building a plateau of basalt kilometers thick. But the lava is not what kills, it is what the lava releases. As the magma pushes through the crust, it passes through vast deposits of coal and limestone. The same coal that the Carboniferous forests laid down. The same carbon that was safely locked underground for 50 million years. The magma burns through it, and the carbon is released. Not slowly over millennia, in massive pulses. Trillions of tons of carbon dioxide, methane, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, pouring into the atmosphere in quantities the planet has never experienced. The greenhouse effect accelerates beyond anything the Earth can regulate. Global temperatures rise by 10 degrees, then 15. The poles become temperate. The tropics become uninhabitable. The heat is relentless, and it does not stop because the eruptions do not stop. I walked through what was a forest 3 days ago. There is nothing left. The trees did not burn, they cooked. Standing dead, bark peeling, leaves gone. The soil beneath is baked hard and cracked. No insects move, no sound except the distant rumble of eruptions that have become constant, like the heartbeat of a dying planet. The therapsids are dying, not from lava, they are thousands of kilometers from the eruptions. They are dying from the air. Carbon dioxide levels are so high that breathing becomes inefficient. Every breath brings less oxygen. The large animals go first. Their bodies need more oxygen and they cannot get it. I watch a gorgonopsid, perhaps the descendant of the one I saw resting peacefully in the shade, struggling to breathe. It lies on its side. Its mouth opens and closes. Its powerful muscles useless. It simply cannot extract enough oxygen from an atmosphere that is being poisoned from below. It dies quietly, and nothing eats it, because the scavengers are dying too. The acid rain begins within years of the first eruptions. Sulfur dioxide mixes with water vapor in the atmosphere and falls as sulfuric acid. It strips the remaining leaves from every plant. It poisons every freshwater stream and lake. It dissolves the shells of any creature that depends on calcium carbonate. The rain itself has become lethal. I walk for days without seeing a living plant. The ground is grey, not the grey of rock, the grey of dead soil. Soil that was alive with microorganisms and fungi and roots, now sterilized by acid and heat. The rivers still flow, but they flow wrong. Without plant roots to hold the banks together, the rivers spread wide and shallow, braided channels wandering across dead floodplains with no direction. Geologists will find evidence of this exact change in rock layers, the transition from narrow, deep river channels to wide, braided systems, a fingerprint of a world that lost its plants. And then the oceans begin to die. The heat reaches the water. Ocean temperatures climb until the water can no longer hold dissolved oxygen. The deep oceans go anoxic, oxygen-free zones spreading from the bottom upward like a rising tide of suffocation. Marine creatures that survived 400 million years of evolution, trilobites, ancient reef builders, sea scorpions, entire lineages that weathered ice ages and asteroid bombardments, suffocate in water that can no longer support them. But the worst is yet to come. In the anoxic deep water, a different kind of bacteria thrives. Anaerobic bacteria. The same ancient organisms that were driven underground by the great oxidation event 2 billion years ago, the exiled rulers of an older Earth. They have been waiting in the deep mud, and now their world has returned. Oxygen-free water. And they produce a gas as waste. Hydrogen sulfide. The smell of rotten eggs. And it is one of the most toxic substances in nature. The hydrogen sulfide rises from the dying oceans. It reaches the surface. It leaks into the atmosphere. And it does two things simultaneously. It poisons every air-breathing animal near the coasts. And it destroys the ozone layer. The same protective shield that took billions of years to build. The shield that made land habitable is being chemically dismantled by gas rising from dead oceans. Without the ozone layer, ultraviolet radiation pours onto the land unfiltered. The same sterilizing radiation that kept the continents lifeless for 4 billion years before plants arrived is back. Any organism that survived the heat, the acid rain, the oxygen depletion, now faces radiation burns. The land is being sterilized from above and poisoned from below simultaneously. I stand on a coastline that was alive with creatures 1,000 years ago. Now there is nothing. The water is dark, not the dark of depth, but the dark of death. A greenish-purple sheen covers the surface, bacterial mats feeding on the sulfur-rich anoxic water. The smell is unbearable. The sky has a brownish-green tinge from the hydrogen sulfide haze. This is not a planet in crisis. This is a planet that has crossed a threshold into something that looks like the end. The numbers are almost impossible to comprehend. 96% of all marine species gone. 70% of all land vertebrate species gone. Entire ecosystems that took hundreds of millions of years to build, erased in what geology considers an instant. The reefs collapse, the forests vanish, the food chains disintegrate link by link until there is nothing left to connect. This is the Great Dying, the Permian-Triassic extinction event. It is the closest that life on Earth has ever come to complete annihilation. Not from an asteroid, not from a cosmic impact, from the planet itself. From magma that burned through coal and released the carbon that trees had buried 50 million years before. The silence afterward is the loudest thing I have ever heard. I walk through a world that looks like it was never alive. Grey ground, dead rivers, empty sky. The wind carries dust and ash, but no seeds, no pollen, no spores. The rain falls, but nothing grows from it. For the first time in 300 million years, the land is barren again. Not because life never arrived, but because life was erased. And yet, in a crack in a dry riverbed, I find a small burrow. Inside, something is breathing. A small synapsid, no larger than a rat, Lystrosaurus. It has a short, blunt snout, 2 small tusks, a barrel-shaped body built for digging. It survived underground, in a burrow, breathing shallow, eating roots and whatever dead plant matter remains in the soil. It is not impressive. It is not beautiful. It is not the apex predator that ruled this world 1,000,000 years ago. It is a survivor, nothing more. And for the next several million years, it will be one of the only large vertebrates left on Earth. Fossil records show that in some regions, Lystrosaurus makes up 90% of all land vertebrate fossils. Not because it was successful, because everything else was dead. The world will recover. It always does. But it will take 10 million years. And when life finally rebuilds, it will build something completely different from what was lost. The therapsids, the mammal ancestors that ruled the world, will never fully recover their dominance. Their throne is empty, and something else will claim it. Something small, something fast, something that walks on two legs. And it is already here, hiding in the margins, waiting for its chance. I am walking forward into the empty world. 10 million years. That is how long the silence lasts. I have walked through empty worlds before on this journey. The barren land before plants arrived, the frozen surface of snowball Earth. But this is different. Those worlds were empty because life had not yet reached them. This world is empty because life was taken away. I walk across a floodplain that stretches flat to the horizon. No trees, no bushes, no grass. Grass will not evolve for another 200 million years. Just bare reddish soil and wide, shallow rivers that wander without direction. The rivers braid and split and rejoin, spreading across the land with no banks to contain them because there are no roots to hold the soil together. The rain falls. It has always fallen, but now it cuts directly into the ground. Without plant cover, the topsoil washes away with every storm. Erosion is carving the land faster than at any point in hundreds of millions of years. The rivers carry red sediment to the coasts, where it fans out into the dead ocean. The planet is bleeding soil into the sea. And in this emptiness, one creature is everywhere. Lystrosaurus. I see them constantly. Small, barrel-shaped synapsids, the size of a large pig, with short, flat faces and two downward-pointing tusks. They dig for roots and tubers in the hard ground. They burrow to escape the midday heat. They move in loose groups across the open plain. Not herds exactly, just animals drifting in the same direction because there is nowhere else to go. They are not impressive animals. They are not fast. They are not strong. Their tusks are for digging, not fighting. They survive because they are generalists. They eat almost anything organic. They can burrow underground when conditions become extreme. And most importantly, they breed quickly. In a world where 90% of species are gone, being ordinary is the ultimate survival strategy. I crouch beside one as it digs into the cracked earth. It looks up at me briefly with small, dull eyes. There is no intelligence in that gaze, no curiosity, just the mechanical persistence of a creature that does one thing: survive. It returns to digging. Around it, the empty world stretches in every direction. This animal and its relatives make up almost every large vertebrate on the entire planet. A world of one species. A world so empty that mediocrity is enough to dominate. But the planet is not standing still. It never does. I notice the changes slowly. A green patch on a wet riverbank where it was bare ground a million years ago. A cluster of small ferns growing in the shade of a boulder. A thin crust of moss on the northern side of rocks where moisture gathers. Life is coming back. Not rushing, creeping, testing every surface with the caution of a survivor who remembers the fire. The fungi came first. In the immediate aftermath of the extinction, fungal spores exploded across the planet. So much dead organic matter to consume. Fallen forests, dead animals, rotting roots still buried in the soil. The fungal spike, as geologists call it, is one of the clearest markers of the extinction in the rock record. A thin layer of concentrated fungal remains sandwiched between the world that was and the world that will be. The undertakers of a dead planet, cleaning up before the next tenants arrive. Then the pioneer plants, small, tough, drought-resistant species that can grow in poor soil with little competition. They spread along waterways first, then outward from the coasts, slowly reclaiming ground that was lost. Each generation of plants improves the soil slightly. Roots hold earth together. Dead leaves add organic matter. Microorganisms return to the soil. The cycle of growth and decay restarts, painfully slowly. And with the plants come the insects, not the giants of the Carboniferous. Oxygen levels dropped during the extinction and never fully recovered to those extreme heights. The age of giant dragonflies and meter-long millipedes is over. But smaller insects return: beetles, flies, early wasps. They pollinate, they decompose, they become food. The base of the food chain is rebuilding, link by link. I stand still and watch time compress. The empty floodplain around me gradually turns green. Rivers narrow as roots stabilize their banks. New species of trees appear, different from the lepidodendron and sigillaria of the coal forests. Conifers, seed ferns, plants that reproduce with seeds instead of spores, better adapted to the drier climate of post-extinction Pangea. The forests return. Not the same forests, new forests, built from new blueprints. And the animals diversify. Lystrosaurus is no longer alone. New therapsids evolve to fill the empty roles. Small insectivores, medium-sized herbivores, a few new predators. The ecosystem is rebuilding, but it is fragile, like a house built on the foundation of a destroyed one. The walls are new, but the ground still remembers what happened. And then I see something I have not seen before. Near a riverbank lined with young conifers, a small animal moves on two legs. Not four, two. It is upright, balanced on its hind limbs, with a long tail held straight behind for balance. Its front limbs are short and free, not used for walking. It is fast, very fast. It darts between rocks, chasing a large insect. It catches the insect in small, sharp-toothed jaws and swallows it whole. It is no larger than a house cat. It weighs maybe 2 kilograms. It is utterly insignificant in a world still dominated by therapsids 10 times its size. But I know what it is. This is an archosaur, the lineage that will produce crocodiles and pterosaurs and birds and dinosaurs. This small, fast, two-legged insect hunter is the ancestor of Tyrannosaurus rex, of Brachiosaurus, of every dinosaur that will ever shake the ground. Right now it is nothing, a minor player in a recovering ecosystem. The therapsids still hold the power. The mammal ancestors still dominate. This little archosaur survives on speed and agility, catching insects and small prey that the larger animals do not bother with. It lives in the margins, in the gaps. But the margins are where revolutions begin. Because the world is not done changing. The Triassic climate is harsh, hot, dry, variable. Conditions swing between extremes. And in a world of extremes, the generalists struggle. The therapsids, built for a more stable world, begin to decline. Slowly. Not in a dramatic extinction, in a quiet fading. Each generation a little less successful, each niche a little harder to hold. And the archosaurs, built light, built fast, built efficient, step into every space the therapsids leave behind. They diversify. Some grow larger, some develop longer necks, some begin to eat plants instead of insects, some become ambush predators near waterways. Each generation pushes a little further into the world. I watch the transition happen across millions of years compressed into moments. The therapsids shrinking, the archosaurs growing, the balance shifting. A changing of the guard so slow that no single generation notices. But the result is absolute. The age of the mammal ancestors is ending, and the age of the dinosaurs is about to begin. I find one of the earliest true dinosaurs near a dried lake bed, Eoraptor. Barely a meter long, light-boned, fast. It stands on two legs and looks at the world with alert, intelligent eyes. It is a predator, but a small one, hunting lizards and insects in the Triassic scrubland. It does not know that its descendants will grow to 30 meters long and weigh 80 tons. It It does not know that its lineage will rule this planet for 160 million years. It is just hungry and fast and alive in a world that is still learning how to be alive again. I look at this small creature, standing upright in the harsh Triassic sun, and I understand something. Every empire begins like this, not with a roar, with a whisper, not with power, with opportunity. The dinosaurs did not conquer the world, they inherited it. From a planet that burned itself nearly to death and left the door open for whoever was fast enough to walk through. And they walked through. But that is the next journey. The next time I stand somewhere impossible and tell you what I see. A world of fire and coal became a world of silence. And from that silence, something rose on two legs, looked at the empty horizon, and started running. The planet that almost died is about to meet its new rulers. I will see you in the next one.